Yeah, PT test coming up. I should probably.
Stop doing yoga.
I heard they got rid of the weight line.
They add that shit back. What you talking about?
You for real?
Yeah, he's serious.
Yes,
Do it every year now on your anniversary.
Hold on, wait. So it's just not connected to the PT test?
Nope, it's not connected at all to the PT test. It's separate.
Unless you
So you
fucked
just
around and got your PT test on your birth month.
So you just gotta. My PT test was always on my birth month, but so on your birth month they come around and be like, "Nigga, are you fat this year?"
Basically.
Almost
birthday,
exactly
you
how
fat.
that turns out.
Yeah. Happy birthday. You fat? All right.
sounds about right.
How
All
much
they do is
cake?
come on. Basically, how much cake you eating? Hey, happy birthday! You putting on some pounds, my boy. And the way they say
Not-
it too is like the first one's free.
The first
Not
one.
that as you age, your metabolism changes anyway. But all right.
Military
Nah,
They don't
care
care.
at all.
They
Yeah,
don't.
they
care.
don't-
About to say not by Air Force standard.
I'm just saying, I have what the year is 2023. I have 5 more PT tests left to go.
If it was up to
Oh,
the if it was up to the Air Force, and I'm pretty sure Zay know because he was lifting heavy at one point. If it was up to the Air Force, they'd rather have you like skin and bones, ribs showing, ribs touching. Like that's they picture
for your mile and a
perfect
half.
airman, malnourished looking. You run that mile and a half in 8 minutes and 30 seconds though. You ain't carrying no weight.
It's a fact. It's a fact. All right, y'all. Let's get going on, man. Let's get into this thing. We are live on YouTube. I am here with the squad, man. The whole team is here. You know, listen, maybe Daniel, Trey, but for the most part, man, Mike's with me, Tay's with me. Shut yourselves out, brothers.
What's good?
Up, everybody.
I got B with me as well, man. We're gonna get into tonight's session. See what the market's gonna present us. I'm gonna ask Mike to lead us on the DXY so we can get an overall view and plan it out, man. Plan out the end of this month.
Bet. So you want me to share and go over DXY and what I see in the news?
Most done. And whatever pairs you eyeball and I just close out here.
All right. So as far as I'm seeing with the DXY, we're kind of in the the pullback that we're kind of expecting here from a shorter time rising wedge, which is literally right here. So we're in that pullback right now. Get rid of this. We're in this pullback right now, coming down. Now we had one tap to the downside here, and we're literally 50% of what this consolidation area was. So this is a target zone for me. And we rejected once, and that rejection brought us down to a 4-hour oversold price, which then started pulling back to the upside, as we see here. This high, literally, it's breaking highs as it comes up. It's breaking this one, pulls back, and we should start seeing a move on the way up here, bullish. Once we come back down into this zone for test number 2, which would be initial test, pull back, come back for a second one, which would then create a divergent move right down here. Right. So once I see either this type of situation happen, or I just see another opportunity, which is also based off the RSI, where we have a double bottom literally in the retest zone down here. So I would like to see that retested. So once I see price actually reach off of the 4 hour into this zone, I'm gonna expect another buy it on the way up. What I would love to see is, like I said, either a low here to then create a possible fill of a fair value gap. So I'll show you in a second. Or I want to see it just make a higher low. So then this way, it literally is starting to give us a channel on the way up. If these two match, great. If I'm looking for a divergent move, either way, I'm looking for buys coming up here soon, but we're selling on the way down. So with movements like this, look, we have fair value gaps down here that this one's been filled. All these have been filled. This yellow one right here hasn't been filled. But if we come down to this area that I just have this, higher low possibly at, it literally would fill it, giving it a reason to go back up. Right, this one yellow box right here. There is a fair value gap off of the weekly. I remove some of these things here. And it's right here. This fair value gap, this last yellow box, which we are in the midst of right now, which is why I have this line here, because this is also this line represents the golden zone when you're looking at the fib, right? So this is a target price for me to possibly look for buys. Now, how long this is going to take? It could take the next couple of days. It could take the rest of the week, depending on how this starts creating a wick. But either way, what I'm looking for is a retest 50% or the fair value gap being filled, then looking for buys. What do we have coming up for news, though? That could push this. Consumer confidence. Look, it's appearing to come down, which is based on how people feel about the economy. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I feel that currently we are taking a turn back down. We had an emotional pullback when we saw gas prices come down, food prices come down, end of Q4, beginning of Q1. But now we're heading back up. And why is that? We have $300 billion added to the balance sheets that we've talked about. After a $2 trillion drop in balance sheet, we added $300 billion back to save these banks, making sure everybody's money is insured. So even though there was supposed to be no bailout, they did an emergency one. So a consumer, and what that's going to turn around and do is it's going to turn around and cause inflation to go back up, because as the balance sheet goes up, that means money's being borrowed, which who pays that back? Everybody watching this. So it's expect inflation to continue going up, even though interest rates are still going up. So we're looking at a possible, break at some point when one of these is not going to be able to go up any further. If inflation goes up so high, we start hurting even more. Interest rates go up higher, one and then the other. So keep these things in mind when consumer confidence is coming out, that this is the confidence from us as consumers to purchase and spend money, keep it circulating in the economy, and we're already expecting it to come down. Anything above 100 is great. Anything above 50 is great. So when it reaches 100, above 50 is positive, and above 100 is great. It's a lot of confidence in the economy. And as we start coming down, once this comes back down under 100, because Powell has spoken about being very aggressive on monetary policy changes, interest rates increasing, less money being spent, etc. He wants to tighten the nuts and bolts even more. So Q2, Q3, Q4 could very well be interesting, where we see the effects in 2024 after this year. AUD, CPI, we do know that AUD is a big factor in how the US dollar works. They work 100% opposite of each other. When one goes up, the other goes down. There's really no in between for that. So when I look at what's going to move the US dollar, I'm looking at what's going to happen with the Australian dollar as well. They're expecting this to come down, right? Which in that case, this is CPI is going to be their their inflation, their high level inflation rates. And they're expecting inflation to come down. That would then push AUD stronger because they're not working on a supply and demand, they're working on a value base. So this is going to make AUD stronger, which is going to do what? Push the US dollar down. There's not a lot going here on Wednesday. Home sales are important because of the fact that the housing market needs to crash as well. So pay attention to this. I can't believe that this is an orange folder and not red. And we're expecting this much of a difference in home sales. That's a 11% drop. That's 11% drop month over month in home sales.
Somebody lying.
That's
Somebody
huge.
lying. That's
Definitely
huge.
I'm looking forward to Thursday, which is going to be final GDP quarter over quarter. As GDP gets worse, we saw it improve towards Q3, Q4 somewhat, but the closer we get to a negative 10% overall, which this is saying there's no change in it. There's no change in GDP. Let's pull up the actual numbers and how to read this, right? Look at where we were at 6.9%. We're looking at the negatives as well. We were looking at GDP being a factor in how the US dollar works. When GDP is going down and we're seeing that it reached 10% in the opposite direction, that's when we hit a depression. Now we're sitting here looking at 2.7% where it's going to be at. That means there's no change. Interest rates haven't pushed anything positive. This also depends on your employment. When we start seeing inflation going up so high and interest rates not working to combat that, we're going to start seeing layoffs next. That's going to push GDP down even further. And as GDP, like I'm saying, is coming down, that's when we hit the depression. I don't listen to what these guys say on the news of we're not in a recession, we're not in this, we're not in that. Look at these numbers because these numbers are going to tell you exactly where we're at. Don't pay attention to anything that you're hearing on CNN and shit, Fox, because they're going to give you what's going to emotionally trigger.
Correct.
We're doing great because the employment, even though we saw what was going on over the past year, we knew we were in a recession. Well, the closer that we're getting into this direction, because we were at like 6-7% positive not long ago, and now we're seeing drops. Like this is not good when we're talking about what's being put out in the form of production. So as we look at the production dropping, the depression is coming, especially when your cost of everything is going up. You can't have everything costing going up and have people not make enough money to survive and expect that we're going to be prosperous. That's not going to work. So we'll see how these things kind of work out. I want people to kind of understand, and Tay, thank you for sending me the video on IG. Because as this stuff starts getting out, we were talking about it as a group in Discord, as far as oil and BRICS go, right? People are familiar with BRICS. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because every week we have crude oil inventories, right? Oil is a big thing when it comes to the US dollar. Oil runs the world. We know that. And if you guys aren't familiar with how BRICS works and what's going on, start paying attention, because right now we have a seat at the table until, otherwise. And right now we're being pushed out. And what table is this? It's the world. It's what I would consider as the new world order. Whoever controls the oil controls the world. And there's a group of countries, which are Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. That makes up BRICS. And that term was actually coined by a Goldman Sachs banker. And they just added, ironically enough, Mexico. But the biggest, which thank you for pointing that out. Who's it? I think it was Byron that pointed that out. Once I looked into that, yeah, they had been added the week before. But the biggest thing that happened is the fact that Saudi Arabia and Iran have put together a peace platform for them to work together on, in spite of any religious differences. Now ask yourself, how big does this have to be for them after hundreds of years to put their religions aside to actually work peacefully in this alliance? And as you guys can see, I pulled some information up for BRICS on here so you guys can see this. This was interesting. I thought it was kind of interesting to point out here that the BRICS community, which are these 5 countries, because Saudi and Iran are not part of it yet. Mexico is now part of it, but this is prior to any of this happening. That their group accounts for 17% of the global trade and 1/3 of the global GDP. That's huge. And in the reel that Tate sent to me, it was talking about how with these countries that are involved, they will have more than half of the percentage of population in the world. There's no need for the US at this table at all, period. Which is why this is the new world order that's being created. So when you control the oil, you control the world. And these countries are really stepping up and working with each other and leaving the United States out. It's
Yep.
kind of scary, especially based because our leadership isn't doing anything about this. So continue to monitor, how this is going to work, because when we've talked about depressions or, whatever's going to switch in these market conditions, we could see the US dollar go skyrocketing because of demand. There's so little supply that we could see such a high demand that the US dollar goes and it reaches a price of 120. Right? When we look on the high time frames, we can see that 120 is not out of reach when looking in the past. Right here. This, when you see this hurts our pockets because it's more money coming out when the supply is not there. But if it does start to reach that and deflation starts coming into play, then you're going to start seeing the money being worthless all over the place, let alone inside our own country. Right now, it's worth a lot outside, but it's not worth anything here because everything costs so much. So if we're going to see this go up, that's going to be high demand, low supply. If we're going to see it drop and drop quickly, that's because they're going to introduce deflation and just completely kill our currency. These are things to look forward to as to where you're going to put your money, because why would I want to put any of my money into the stock market when everybody's going to be pulling out? Right? When everybody's pulling out, yes, that's a good time to put money in, but let them go through that first. Let those cycles happen. Let everybody panic and pull all their money out. That's where millionaires are made. Billionaires are made. When you can catch certain stocks or certain items, like let's say gold or silver. That video that you sent over to me, Zay, or you put into the chat, that video was amazing. And with that lady breaking everything down. And silver was on that list. And we've been talking about silver being a very powerful possible currency if we go back to a gold standard. Right? So consider where your money is going to make money rather than lose it. And right now, I mean, there's, everybody wants to get on the crypto train. I still see crypto coming down. Get on that train, but get in and get out. Make your money and then sit there and be smart about it. Don't sit there and scalp all day till you lose all the money you made. You know what I mean? So when I'm looking at DXY, I'm looking at pairs like EA, GA, AU, and even, stock markets like US 30, NASDAQ, etc. And so with the news topics coming out, these are going to be simple times in the sense where if we see, for example, consumer confidence coming out tomorrow and it's going to be negative, I would expect from the 7 a.m. time, my time, which is 10 a.m. Eastern, we're going to start seeing a bearish move off of the stocks, at least for this hour time frame. That could be an entry for a buy. Pay attention to your market structures. But you can sell and make some money off of this. I would be selling the news if I'm going to be trading news specifically. Otherwise, I could be possibly looking for an entry for the opposite type of a trade. So especially if this is going to go up, we can see the DXY going down. DXY goes down, even though this is out of our US session trade, that could be a bullish move in the evening for stocks. So if I'm also looking for EA and GA, I'm looking for similar moves to the US dollar, being that if DXY is coming down, AUD is going to be strong. That could push down EA and GA for a high time frame wick as a retest. It's sitting in an interesting spot right now, as you guys were just looking at. So, yeah, once you know DXY, like we've always said, you can kind of link it to everything else one way or the other.
Most definitely. Appreciate you on that one. Hey, Tay, you want to follow us up on gold, bro?
Yeah, I got you.
Appreciate it.
All right. I was looking at some other stuff, but we were looking at a couple things for gold here. Told you where it's coming. Told you yesterday it was coming back to this level. Because this is what it's falling, trying to form that double bottom for this potential buy. Today looks like it's gonna finally come up, but we'll wait for some kind of candle or some kind of indecision to show up. It's a little looking, I like the way it's looking right now. I wish it would have came down a little further, but it came down to that 1937. I've been a little happier. I'm just gonna watch these candles form for a little bit. I probably won't. I'll probably look at it in the morning and see what happens. But I've been in this trade for a minute, so I haven't got out of it. I could get another entry into it, and I can deal with the drawdown for a little bit. But I should still be positive for it. In the event it does decide to come down, I don't see where another spot where it would come down lower. But this is a good location. This is the last time we had from February of 2023. This is where high is that it took. So that's where it decided to bounce off of. Gold looks pretty good for what I'm seeing. I haven't seen too many things. I've been looking for a lot of retraces. That's why you see a lot of these things for buys, pullbacks that haven't been giving me, but finally it gave that pullback we're looking for. That's why we're trying to take it now to get another buy entry. So we wanted to pull back here. We kind of got it. I missed it because of the wick. So I missed it because of the wick. We called it for this day. The next day, it literally comes down, wicks it, takes off upwards. So we come back down short. Came down, wicked it, shot back up within a day, and now this is the next spot. So we're calling this again. Boom. We'll keep calling it. We'll keep calling these pullbacks for these buys until you guys take them. But if you're not gonna take them, then I guess I just make my money. It don't bother me much. NJ, I was calling about this week too. Told you it was gonna come down here and touch it again. This is a really good spot there. It was gonna make a decision. It made a decision that it was not breaking this level yet. So it's gonna come back up and play around this area again. So we're expecting this to come back up to at least 85, if not higher, where it's been doing for the last such and such time. Seems like recently it's been trying to hang out here since December of last year. It's been hanging out in this area for consolidation reasons. I'm not taking this trade at all because for consolidation reasons, because it's not worth it to me to try to guess on if it's going to consolidate and where it's going to end up in. We know it's going to be a buy for a period of time, but we don't know where. And then we know it's going to end here at 80. So if I already got this at 80, I probably would have took it just to hold on to it to see where it might go to catch my quick pips. But outside of that, it's not worth it to me. Now looking at GA, NJ, we were talking about briefly, but it's just been doing its thing, hanging in this channel, making money. We know how quickly it moves too. So apparently we'll take a 0.1 because of how fast it's moving. If we're gonna trade in this one, because I'll show you again why. Let's look at the daily here. So from yesterday, when it went from here to here, it was about 130 some pips. So 130 pips move is a pretty good move. Making a pretty decent money. Nothing too crazy here for this trade though. We could look for this pullback of this 50% of this fib, but it wouldn't be a good or smart trade because we don't see anything back here that'll give us indication that this has been a level that we're at now. Nope. Possibly here. Here. Yeah, somewhere around here. So maybe this might be a good spot to try to take another buy in. Let's see. We're close. We're close. I wouldn't be mad if you took a buy over here. But we're not gonna get too much money off of this buy if it go to the top of this channel. So still a long position here. Let's do it from the 50%. Let's turn a magnet off here. God damn. We're not gonna risk that much for this trade. Let's risk it to, let's go to here. That'd be fun. And go away to, I like it. I don't like it. Yeah, still don't like the trade. I'm not taking it. Euro USD is still moving up. Still got a buy call on this. We're in profits right now. Continue to hold.
It's funny, I was just looking at that and it was looking like it's got a little bit of room for the double top, which goes down, which goes with the sell on DXY for the time being.
It's about here.
Yeah.
It's about that double top, yeah. So that's why I have it going to. So
Hey, when analysis works and it clicks, you know what I'm saying? I got DXY coming down, you got Euro USD coming up still.
easy money.
Mhm.
Tesla, I'm still looking at, me, I'm trying to get into some of my stock trades, which we'll talk about one trade we talked about yesterday, Zay. Remember I told you? Did you go do it? You take any options yesterday? Anybody take any options yesterday? I'm assuming no. We'll talk about it.
I do.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it for the day because you about to like, oh yeah, he was right. Double top form on Tesla, retrace neckline coming down. This is dropping. Let's also see where else we got going on here. This is overall still in a downward trend. So we
Fell
wanted to
asleep.
come
Tay
down.
did call that shit though.
What?
That drop. I remember you calling. So
Oh,
don't
yeah,
sleep. I missed it, but you did.
I've been calling drops for a while on Tesla. I ain't been watching. I'm do better when I'm not watching the news. So if I don't pay attention to the news, I do way better because the news be lying. They be like, "Oh yeah, this is good." I'm like, "Oh, well, the news says good, so this should be good." But in all honesty, it's fucking trash. We've been coming and talk about this coming down to 166 anyway for a while, Tesla, because Elon fucking up. But this could potentially come down to the bottom of the channel, which we want to. And honestly, we want to come down to the corner mark here at that 110. So we'll continue to watch this drop. We're looking for pullbacks to get into here so that we can feel comfortable watching Tesla fall to nothingness until they come out with that G-Wagon. Until they do another space mission. I'm not looking at oil today. Let's look at US 30. I just said that US 30 was in a sell. Always I'm looking at a sell for US 30, even though it's literally telling me that it keeps rising. This candle here lets me know that it wants to keep rising, which is making me a little not afraid, but a little more worried than anything I need to look at. Because it looks like someone that break outside of this channel. So if it breaks this channel today, like I hope it's just not for like 1,000 pips tomorrow, and I'm not in like any drawdown. But as you can see, I don't have too much confidence. Even if I put it to here, I don't have way too much confidence. I always put a little bit above it, so let's go here. But
what are we looking at on the 4 hour? Is that what you're looking at the 30?
I was looking at daily. I look at it daily most of the time because I take longer trades. But everything is like literally rising. So we had this indecision, we had a hammer that formed, but it's not giving anything for reversal. And then we had this pretty big movement upwards, and we see a lot of wicks to the downside. As it's trying to push down, it did not succeed in pushing that down. So today is going to be a pretty pivotal day for either this to come down and the mark shoot back down so we can get back into here and feel happy by ourselves, or it to come above here and break this area. If you're in a trade for US 30 and you're in profits for a buy, I advise you put your trades in stop and profit because you might not have a great day tomorrow. It's looking like it might keep pushing upwards. Like I said, only thing that keep me in here to like reverse this is this channel I'm in, but I'm not seeing it at any spots that I'm like comfortable that I see a lot of wicks where we are right now. Wicks here. A lot of wicks where we at right now. So that's the only thing that's like giving me like, okay, this might just decide that it wants to come down because there's so many wicks that are forming at this area on a daily. But everything else is just like this shit might fucking might shoot up. So I'm gonna just trust what I normally do, which is look at channels, look at levels of resistance, and look at candles forming. This is the only candle that's fucking me up right now. So we'll keep watching it. Netflix, look how Netflix ended today. So this is what we talked about yesterday. Talked about Netflix giving you start taking those sell options. What did they throw out? What did they throw? Do the doji today. Do the doji today. So when I tell you that I was gonna come here and it was gonna start to look for this, come up back to here this level, and then drop, it literally is gonna do that. So it literally came back up here. It gave a doji at this level, and now it's about to try to reverse out of here tomorrow. So I'm gonna cry if I'm wrong about this, but I should be right. So once again, we're calling this as a sell because we got this thing selling to 164. Cause screw Netflix. Screw Netflix and all their tactics right now. So they broke outside that channel, neckline retest of that channel. They tested the top of the channel. We can almost extend this over 1 and 2. So let's extend this to the right. If I can find the thing. Oh, here it is. Boom. Hey, look, it lines up almost damn near perfect. Oh man. What a coincidence. What a fucking coincidence. Like, fuck out of here. It's like these channels work or some shit. Yeah, look for this to drop. Any news going on for Netflix? Let's look. Don't care. Don't care.
Right,
Don't
economic
care.
news.
Nothing. Hey, they're not important. See, they're not even in the news no more. Not
Well,
even in the news right now.
the thing with Netflix that I keep in my mind right now is they have. I feel like they're going to try and manipulate markets here, and they have been over the past year.
Yeah.
As we saw with COVID, everybody was at home watching Netflix all the time. Stocks were rising, et cetera. Same with Zoom, same with all the tech stuff, right?
Yeah.
Netflix in Q3 of last year had a 200,000 subscriber drop.
Yeah.
So they set their expectations over 2023 at a total of like 2 million subscribers that are going to drop. So when they overcompensate for that, you know what I mean? Like they're these pullbacks that are happening are due to the losses of prize subscribers. But we're going to end up having during earnings calls probably moves on the way back up because they're going to be they overcompensated that 2
They're like,
million.
oh yeah, we only lost 1.6 million instead of 2. We're doing great this year, guys. Fucking bums.
So
But like I said, I still don't expect them to keep rising. They're at 327. I can this thing coming down. We'll at least coming down to 269, maybe 284. But it's gonna have to come down to a level that we have marked up. So we've been watching this thing drop. We're watching this thing rise back up to this level. Now we're watching this thing go drop again. And I'm just hoping my analysis are working for me here.
And it probably will because I actually wouldn't necessarily be surprised if maybe that 2 million is going to be met or exceeded through the rest of this year, because as times get harder and costs start going up, Netflix just gets looked at as a bill. What is it? The other day, I just discontinued my Disney, Hulu, ESPN Plus package. I barely even watch Hulu now that I'm on the truck anymore. You know, I own all the Marvel movies, which is the Disney Plus shit. You know what I mean? So
people going back to
like,
pirating too. So people are about to go back to pirating and be like, hey, they charging like it's cable. Like, why would I have all these different subscription services if I could just have one? So Netflix is gonna be one to get killed first because Netflix used to have all the stuff, and now they are limited on what they have. They have a lot of their own like Netflix original movies, like, but they all pretty low key ass. Like, and if I want to watch one, I'll just pay the $7 for that 1 month to pay for your movie when it come out, and then I'll cancel my subscription, or I get it free for that month by using a different email for that week that I'll make on freeemail.com. Like,
Exactly.
what are we doing here? Like, I don't have to pay for you guys to provide me the service anymore. Especially if you know what you're doing. Like, I use a Plex service now for a lot of stuff. I'm not paying. My always I pay for Netflix because my wife wants to. If I could cancel all my services, I would. I'll cancel every last one of them, but she'd cry about it. So I'm being dead serious. I cancel all them bitches.
I believe it. I believe it.
Save me about $300 a month. Because I was looking at my bed this morning, I woke up and the first thing I see when I wake up is like Hulu charged me something. I'm like, why is Hulu charging me $75? I thought it was like for the year. I was like, oh, that's the month. I was like, oh, what the hell am I paying
For
for?
the month?
For the
That's
month.
crazy.
I'm about to fucking like, oh, we got Hulu Live. I'm like, I don't even use Hulu Live like that.
For Hulu Live.
I'm about to cancel
Live
it.
anything.
Like, would you watch the games? I'm like, it ain't football season, and I might steal that shit next year. Like at this rate, I just buy the NFL pass or something for those couple months, or go to a bar. I'm in
Yeah.
Arizona. I'm just gonna go to a bar. I'm gonna hang out with Mike. I'm gonna hang out next to
Hey,
make him have a TV outside the food truck. I'm just gonna hang out right there.
There you go.
Go watch the NFL.
that's tight, man. Right in the garage.
Have him write it off on his taxes, not me. And the last pair we'll talk about is going to be something you guys will be worried about. It's going to be USD, Chinese, because there's something going on. They're gaining momentum here. Like they're gaining power over, and at some point in time, they're talking about them trying to outpower or outscale the dollar. So something to think about for the near future.
So
We're
real quick,
I'm not saying it's gonna happen this year. I'm not saying it's gonna happen next year, but we're talking about long-term trading. That's what we're trying to get into. We're talking about them making major moves. Hey, when they first conceived in the 80s, they were worth a fucking dollar, and at some point in time, they're up to $8 in 93 December. Now we're hovering about 6.8, 6.7. So hey,
that video that you sent over to me regarding, which is why I was talking about bricks, you bring up a great point as to what's going to end up happening with them, because the big thing to take away outside of why would Saudi and Iran work together is the fact that part of this treaty is the fact that they're going to start settling all their oil in the yuan.
yeah,
Which makes the yuan very, very important.
they're about to try to make the yuan a very powerful currency. They're trying to basically shut the dollar out and try to make the dollar lose some strength because it's causing so much issues around the world. Do we want that? No. As the United States, we don't want that to happen. But are we going to be able to, with the people that we have in power? They're going to let it happen. Let's be honest. So, and the people that are going to be to blame is going to be us because we're not being told about it. And we're too busy worried about keeping up with the Kardashians versus what other countries are doing politically to try to overthrow us and shoot us. They're thinking that war doesn't happen anymore or war won't happen to us. Like we're that protected that we're worried about the wrong things now in the world. And eventually we're going to go to a war again. And it's going to be on our own territory. And hopefully people figure it out then. It won't bother me much. I hope I'm retired from the military, but if I'm not, then I guess I'll be hanging out to war too. So we'll figure it out.
I mean, we're trying to get international at this point.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. But that's all I got.
All right. All right, let me start with EA. So I was looking for a pullback on the EA. However, there are some big concerning factors with that. All right, so for EA, you're looking at a daily double top forming. Right here. If we get the close out at the end of the day, it's going to be something nice. You go down to the 4 hour, had a double top here, came down, made a double bottom, came right back up, and that's where we're sitting right now. Right in the crucial area, got your support level right here. If it closes below this, you can pretty much guarantee we drop into the downside. I say all that to take this over to GA, which GA does not look singular. However, it does have some imbalances down there. You had that weekly jump off last week, which about the 50% point of it is at about 183. It's a big deal because that's a huge level that it broke through, came out the other side, made that double bottom, came up. You look on the daily, that area never got retested after it broke out of this flag and continued to the top side. So I can see us coming back down here to around 183, smacking that up, making another pattern, and continue to go up. But we do best of both worlds. If we fall through that thing, we'll just wait for the retest on the other side and keep it moving. Big thing with it right now, though, that all depends whether or not we get some stall out action at this 50 and continue to the top side. We're sitting on a recent broken level right now. First time it's being really retested. So I'm just sitting here waiting right now.
Nice. Yeah. On that one, man. EA been paying very well.
Yeah. So what I'm waiting on for it, if we're gonna continue to the downside, I'm waiting for a break and a retest. It's EA and GA are usually pretty well about breaking and retesting things. So as soon as it break, I'll look for a retest off of right here at 1615 or 1614. Wait for either one of those. Of course, you're gonna come back, get a little bit of wick action for resistance, and then continue on. But we sitting in the neckline area, so take that as you will. I'm just waiting on either side of it. But yeah, man, that's all I got. Pretty quick and easy.
Okay. Run up a couple of things I'm looking at. I mean, covered EA and GA on that note. US 30, I agree on the buys. I do want to see us come down on this daily. Because we do have a nice bullish candle. I was originally looking at sales, which that's what I think is going to be off the head and shoulders. It's going to be the pullback into that to lose this wick. 32,000, probably 32,250 or 32,000. Somewhere within that range. So maybe we can come back in here, something like this. One thing though that is odd to me is like this wick out. If it doesn't stay outside, it's getting weak as we can see right now, and it gets strong, then maybe we're back in this channel again, and it really going to shit. But if we can get back up, then fantastic. Things will give us that same growth like we saw with DXY. We hit off gold. I haven't looked at German theory in a while. She is a favorite. She's nice big wick to the downside, 12-hour, get a beautiful morning star, followed another candles. We'll see if this will maintain. Get a retracement. Struggling to break this 15,000 area for some time now. So this could definitely just turn into right. But we'll see. Keep an eye on both sides. I'll be interested to see how this 12-hour candle operates. We break through this top side of 15, getting in there and riding it up. It's 15,600. Otherwise, we're gonna come back down into this wick area. So keep an eye out for that. Other than that, GJ has been pretty nice. So pulled up right out the gate, came back into this previous high where if you watched the video that I did in the Discord, talked about both these sections here, you know, EJ and GJ. So we'll see if we'll maintain that sell. JPY. I talked about also in that video us coming down to clear up this neckline of this inverted head and shoulders 5. It came, it did exactly that. right back up. So we'll see what happens here. We are coming into this neckline area here. So if it does not break, we'll start to see this start to tumble back down, and then that'll idea for GJ. So I'll be checking in probably in London, see how these things turn out, see if I can capitalize on these points. With that, Chris, would you like to knock off UJ? Let's follow up with crypto, then this thing out, man.
Sure thing, sure thing. Here we are with UJ. You know, talked about it last day or yesterday if you got to watch the video. We got that short-term rise and that fall off happening again. But what we see right here in this channel, we done broke out of here, I'd say a solid 3 times. I kind of want to count this as the same breakout because it happened so soon, one after another, and it wasn't that strong. But we have our 3 breakouts. We have our 1, 2, and our 3. So on that 4th breakout, I'm looking for it to continue on down. If you haven't gotten in yet, you can look for a pullback right here. We are on the 4-hour, keep in mind. You can look for your pullback about right at 131.277. It don't got to be perfect. It could hit the 0.618. It could hit the 0.786. So just keep in mind your indicators. Look for your patterns. Look for your confirmations before you jump in. But ladies and gentlemen, it is going to continue down. And that's all I got.
For sure, for sure. Good look, man. Solid money to end off this month. Take advantage right here. B, how you feeling about crypto, man? Any updates?
Yeah, I apologize. My computer is acting up right now, so I can't share. But I think
Got you covered.
Mike touched on it earlier about Bitcoin, about a pullback with that. And I see it possibly coming back to retest that 25,000, to retest that, and I'm gonna see how it respects that level. If it breaks down, then we heading down pretty down to maybe 20, 15,000. But I want to see what happens this week. We got a lot of news going on fundamentals wise with crypto, Binance getting sued. So that's pretty much, I could tell why Bitcoin is falling, because they're one of the largest Bitcoin holders, in crypto. So, and then with Bitcoin moves, 9 out of 10, the market's gonna move with it. So this week is interesting so far. It's only Monday, and we got a lot of news that's going on right now. So right now, I'm just sitting back watching what the market's going to do right now.
Bet that. All right, man. Yo, this great chart session. I thank all you guys for coming out, knocking this thing out, man. Take advantage of all these markets. That's what I love about having all these guys here, is that we get to tap into almost everything and get a whole bird's eye view of the market. Now going the rest of the week, we'll know how to capitalize on those A+ setups and really narrow this whole thing down. So any last things from anybody before we close out today?
Nope.
All right. Hey, keep a lookout for the next. Hey, appreciate y'all. Pay attention for the next podcast episode drop. And then me and Mike are going to be getting into all this news that we've done in the last 7 days. It's been crazy out here. So we're going to dissect it all. All right. I'll let y'all in the next one.